My name's David Roybal, and this is a picture of me and my little sister. We lived at 946 Bryant Street. Yeah, we lived at 946 Bryant for 8 years. Then we moved to 941 Clayway. And we also had Alcott Way, which went all the way around. And it was kind of the identity of the neighborhood. Clayway, Alcott, Bryant, 11th, 9th. And now those streets are going to be lost. There ain't going to be no Alcott Way or Bryant Way. They're going to change the streets. We lived right on 946 Bryant, and we would have a big field by the side of our house, and we'd see everybody in the neighborhood every day. And for that area and that street to be gone, is significant. But this is me and my sister. Lived in the neighborhood over 20 years, our whole childhood. Grew up here, went to Fairview every single grade. The school was 3 blocks from our house, 2 blocks. And the neighborhood is a huge part. The school is a huge part of the neighborhood. It's the heart of the neighborhood. You could see it. You could see Fairview Elementary from almost every street. Represents the whole neighborhood. And to see this history gone, it means a lot, because some of us that grew up in the neighborhood, we didn't have a chance. We didn't want to grow up there, and it was hard, but we survived it. We made the best of it. And all the future people that live in the neighborhood, I hope they make the best of it and not let this be the neighborhood that we grew up with crimes and gangs and teen pregnancy and runaways, foster homes. We dealt with it all in this neighborhood. We've seen it all. We've seen everything you can imagine. And to see that gone is really significant, because so many neighborhoods are being lost in Denver. And we're thankful for History Denver of keeping this alive, keeping our stories alive.
All right, that's perfect. All right, can you hold it up for me again, where we had it? All right, and just hold it for a little higher. All right, a little lower, right there. A little higher, actually, right there. All right, hold it for a second, okay? All right, perfect.
My name is David Roybal. I grew up in the neighborhood since 1987 to 2008, and I moved back for a few years after that. See, my first memories coming here at ECE classroom right here, and being in the classroom. And I remember I accidentally pissed myself, and I was so embarrassed. The teacher had to go to that office, get me some new clothes, and it was like growing up poor. We didn't have no shoes. We didn't have that much clothes. We barely had what we had. And I remember the teacher, she took me after school, called my mom, gave me a haircut, bought me some clothes. And that's how much these teachers cared about us. I remember we had Miss Callahan. She worked here for 20 years. And she would always push me to push for more. And we used to have this reading contest. We write a book report, and then we would get something out of her little treasure chest. But I remember this, me and this one kid, we were about on 150 book reports because we were trying to get those prizes. And at that time was, when I won when I was a straight A, I got an honor roll. And I was reading, I was in 2nd grade reading Stephen King. So I was like, wow, this book's cool. It has cuss words. And then, I did well here at Fairview. And I went to Baker Junior High, which was right over. And, I remember it was awesome growing up here. We would go buy my clothes at the flea market. We would get our Dickies. We'd get our Cholo gear, our belts. And I remember going to the flea market, and you would get a whole handful of candy for $1. And now it's like $3 a candy bar. And I grew up here going to the 7-Eleven, loved the 7-Eleven since I was a kid. And my fondest memory was the episode of Who Shot Mr. Burns, and they used to have Slurpee cups with Who Shot Mr. Burns, and we'd go there because we'd get paper food stamps, so we wouldn't have much money. We would buy a Sprite, and everybody would buy a Sprite because you pop the Sprite and you end up getting a free one. So then we would buy 3 pops and we end up with 6 because we kept winning free pops. And I remember when it first opened, this was 1995, when Elitch's first opened, we watched it built from the classroom up here, because where our classroom was, we could see the tower, we could see the construction. And yeah, we went down there, and I remember we found this hole in the fence, and we started going in the amusement park, sneaking in. And yeah, it's crazy because you can't do that no more. So it's very interesting how growing up in this neighborhood, we would have so much fun without $1 in our pocket. We'd go explore the Tivoli. The Tivoli used to be a little mall and a little theater in it. And yeah, we'd walk from there to downtown. It would take us 20 minutes to walk downtown, and we would always be out there. And I used to walk downtown by myself when I was like 8. So I mean, it was like, no parent would let their mom do that, but it was like, I was a very street smart kid growing up here. I remember one time, they would teach us about strangers and all that. Don't talk to strangers. One time across the street from the school, we had some van roll up, try to ask some kids. Man, there was about 15 kids chasing that van out of the neighborhood. It was throwing rocks. We're throwing rocks. We're kicking his van. They were like, "Oh no, you can't kidnap no kids from the projects. We'll end up taking your van." And yeah, I remember that. We were like so close knit. Like an ambulance would come into the neighborhood, and there would be about 15 kids running. So we'd go there and say, "Hey, you know, this person was going on a stretcher." We'd go back to the other side. So it was like we were the news of the neighborhood. We were the 9 News. We knew what was happening. We knew who was getting evicted. We knew who was getting whooped. And yeah, now you don't see that. Now everything's close knit. You know, you live in these buildings. It's like real. Back then, we used to have our own yards. They used to have fences around the yards. We used to have bushes in between. People would have barbecues and stuff. But we hope to see that back in the neighborhood. Like, people want their yards back. They want to be connected. And yeah, I just feel that, you know, what the Sun Valley came from, you know, having such high crime and being so poor, I hope that the neighborhood never has to experience that again. Because some of us grew up poor, not having nothing. And that's because the opportunities weren't there. So I hope they bring more of these opportunities. I hope they get people to start their businesses. And people benefit off the new development and the growth that's coming here. Just because we live in the poorest neighborhood doesn't mean we have to be poor. We could also partake in that and have our businesses and represent the neighborhood proudly. And appreciate your time. Thank you.